Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and I'm your guide for everything Chinese medicine, and I set it all up so us Westerners can figure it out. Now, I'm not going to be doing Chinese today. I'm doing more Western stuff. This is biochemistry video, hope you don't mind. It's hopefully not going to be boring. Sorry. I know people say, chemistry's hard. That's because they don't know how to teach it. It's actually pretty freaking easy. Okay? And what I want to talk about, so we don't have to trudge through a bunch of stuff like gasoline, is let's talk about macromolecules. And there's one in particular that I want to talk about today. I'm going to do the others later. I'm going to talk about protein and what protein actually is. Because one of the things that I hear a lot about in the health food world and the nutritionist world and all of that stuff is you need to get the right protein. They never say what that is. They make like no distinction between plant proteins and animal proteins and nut proteins versus regular vegetables and all of this stuff. They like can't figure out the difference. There is. If there was no difference, then it would all literally be the same thing. Not all proteins are created equal. Now, a protein is a macromolecule. That is the biggest kind of molecule you can get. Let me illustrate it for you. If this room was an average size protein, my little rubber ducky head right here that I'm holding in my fist would be a molecule of water. And that might actually be optimistic. Okay? That's the difference. Proteins are huge, and there's several different kinds. Okay? Now, all proteins are made up of these things called amino acids. Okay? That's like lysine, glycine, glutamine, phenylalanine, all of that. And you can buy most of these in a powdered form in the grocery store. They come in a little bottle that have an L next to it with a dash and then whatever it is. So if you get L-phenylalanine, that is, the L means laboratory, and the phenylalanine is the amino acid. Now, you don't have to take that version. You can actually eat it because we've been doing really, really well as a species without eating by just simply eating the right things that have what we need in them and eating the right amounts of them. Now, that might not be possible, and then you run into issues. And that's where things start to get complicated. Because of things that happened in the 1970s, there was this guy. He claimed to be a doctor. He wasn't. He got on the talk show circuit and said a bunch of stuff that was just categorically wrong. And everybody bought it because, well, we're raised in our culture to believe who's ever sitting in the big chair. Okay? Please do your own research on this. Read an actual science book, not Wikipedia. Okay, please double check me on this stuff, okay? It's called rigor. It's a good thing, okay? So, back to what I was talking about. When you take all these amino acids and you string them together, they form a protein chain, okay? It's the most basic form of protein. Now, depending on what the exterior circumstances are for these amino acids, will depend on what they start to look like. Okay? So you've got a big old chain of them. Imagine that, just right before me there. And it's kind of cold, so they start to group together and bind up. Okay? Or it's a different, or it's cold, but there's other chemicals around it, and so they sheet up like so. It also depends on what amino acids you have. Okay? Now, proteins are building blocks of all life forms, especially us animals, okay? You're an animal, like it or not, okay? Your fingernail is proteins, okay? So it's a very specific protein. It's called chitin. It's the same stuff that makes up insect shells and spider shells and all of that stuff. If it's an aquatic arthropod, it's usually made out of a thing called calcium carbonate, which is easily findable in the sea. That's why we use it. But when they transition on land, the arthropods decided to switch something a little bit cheaper, a little bit lighter. They came up with chitin. We came up with it too. Long about when we were reptiles. Dish. Okay? And started getting claws. Okay? So, we've got that. Hair, I don't have any on my head, but I got plenty on my eyebrows, on the back of my arm here. Okay? That is made up of other proteins. And some of those have pigmentation attached to it. That's why mine is brown. Yours might be red or blonde or white or gray or whatever it is. Okay? That's all protein. Okay? These are inedible proteins. Our body cannot break them down. Most mammal bodies cannot break them down. Some invertebrate bodies can. Okay? So, let's move from the structural ones, which, by the way, tend to look like my fingers, like so, when under a microscope. When you're looking at other stuff, there's globular things. That's literally the name. They look like globs of, well, goo. Okay? And these are usually enzymes. Now, an enzyme is a very specific thing, and it is designed to put stuff together or take stuff apart. And it does that because if we relied on temperature and just chemistry by itself, it's going to take a long time for that molecule to go or to go like that. Okay? It gets expensive. And by the time we break apart the sugar molecule so we can actually use it, we've already burst into flames and kind of defeated the purpose. Okay? So we have an enzyme that does that for us. Okay? It's called amylase, and it breaks down sugar. It's what it does. It goes after sugar and goes, oh, okay, well, just do that, and moves on to the next one. All right? So when you are taking enzymes, you need to look at what ones you're actually taking. Okay? If you are having trouble digesting certain things, one enzyme is going to be better than another, but you should already produce that enzyme unless you've got something broken in the DNA that tells your body to make that, or you're just not capable of making enough of it as you need it, and then the body starts to get stressed out. Okay? So all amino acids are available in food. Okay? Not all amino acids are found in the same food. You understand? All right. There are certain amino acids that are only found in plants, others that are only found in animals in a usable quantity. Okay? We actually have 16 amino acids that we have to eat or we will get sick and or not be alive. Okay? And we need to get those from our food. If we don't do that, bad things happen. Okay? So what I want you to do, my dear viewer, is go to the library when they open, or conversely, you can actually jump on Amazon and you can buy a book on organic chemistry. They're actually pretty cheap. I've got one on my list that is, I believe, 30 bucks. Yeah. College level, you can teach yourself. You don't have to sit in a class and listen to some dude with glasses and a bad haircut and a tweed jacket droll on about atoms and molecules. Okay? You can actually teach this to yourself. Really not that hard, and I do highly recommend it. So I'm going to do the other macromolecules in some other videos, okay? So when you start talking protein in your diet, here's what I want you to remember. There is a difference between animal protein and plant protein. And in plant protein, there is a difference between the stuff you're going to get from a nut, stuff you're going to get from a bean, and stuff you're going to get from a vegetable, and stuff you're going to get from a fruit. All of these have proteins in them. I promise you. Okay? It's just what you're going to get out of it. Okay? And in what concentration. And remember, not all of them are created equal. Okay? Do your research. Increase your understanding. That will make you smarter. Okay? And it will make you more informed and less likely for some jerk to come by and sell you something you don't even need. Okay? So that's about all I've got for you today. If you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button down below. It's somewhere around here. Ring the bell. I think it's right beside it. Maybe like right here or something. And leave a like, leave a comment, and if you would like to, feel free to visit my website at vigintmed.com. That stands for Vigorelli Integrated Medicine.com. You can shoot me an email, and I will probably be able to get back to you. So, I'll see you soon, guys. Bye now.